Now, before we begin, I'd just like to explain there are two styles of manipulation and abuse. The first one is physical, where there's actual physical contact between two or more people, and the second one is emotional manipulation. And the emotional is what we're going to concern ourselves with in this video. So what exactly is emotional manipulation? Well, the terminology which I use to describe myself is one or more person or people who takes actions which are directed towards another person or people with the aim of altering their emotional state in a negative manner. We're going to concern ourselves with three parts in this video. Part 1 is the language that's used to describe both parties. 2, the main technique a manipulator uses to control. And 3, the most important attitude to a target's freedom. And if you're concerned about what target means, we're going to explain that in part 1. Part 1, the language that we use. We're going to scrap the word bully for this video, and we're going to use the word manipulator. A bully has a very heavy looming feeling of somebody rampaging through a schoolyard, destroying everybody in the path. Whereas if we use the word manipulator, a manipulator can only manipulate if they have techniques to control other people. If we understand those techniques, we have the power to move forward. And secondly, we're going to scrap the word victim. Anybody who classes themselves as a victim is going towards helplessness, and it's a very low energy word, so never class yourself as a victim or anybody else as a victim. So we're going to replace the word victim with target. If you become a target of abuse, then the target just needs to understand the techniques the manipulator's using, and then they become a moving target. And as we all know, a moving target is much harder to hit. Part 2, the main techniques the manipulator uses to control. If we're going to fully understand this section, we need to understand the fears of the target. And the number one fear of any person who's a target is, I'm scared I'm going to be rejected for. And then simply fill in the blank. And the blank can become an endless list. I'm scared I'm going to be rejected for being overweight, in financial poverty, having different coloured skin, etc., etc., etc. If a person feels self-conscious about something that they are and they fear rejection, it doesn't actually mean that they are going to get rejected. But if a person believes they are going to get rejected, they will try to hide it. And then the pressure starts to build up from prying eyes. And the target quickly develops a mindset which is, so I don't get rejected, I have to hide the fact that I am overweight, have different coloured skin, have no qualifications, I've got untidy teeth or hair, I'm too weak, afraid, I don't match up to other people's standards, etc., etc., etc. And the target, in hiding so many things about themselves, becomes so self-consumed they actually cannot see the wood for the trees. And hence we have the manipulator's trick. The manipulator's trick is extremely simple in its concept, which is, I'm going to tell others or personally reject you for, and then they find the target's fear. I'm going to tell everybody how overweight you are. I'm going to prove to everyone that you're stupid because you don't have any qualifications. I'm going to show everybody how weak you are by confronting you in public. And the target, fearing everybody else seeing the way they are and believing that everybody's going to reject them for this, will start to either go into a rage and start to try to control the manipulator, which is, again, to everybody observing will notice that reaction, or the target will want to hide away and avoid everything. But both ways, the manipulator has power over the target until the target understands what technique the manipulator is using to overpower them. Now, the unfortunate truth is, as long as the target feels rejectable in themselves about who or what they are, and is afraid of people finding out, they will always be in risk of manipulation. We will always avoid rejection at all costs because it is a survival mechanism.
So for tonight's video, I wanted to talk about a term called flying monkeys. And this is a fantastic term. Whoever invented this just should win an award. I mean, it's so clever, whoever came up with this. A flying monkey is from the movie The Wizard of Oz, and it's used to describe a person that the narcissist is able to con into thinking that they are the victim, and that the narcissist's real victim is actually the bad guy. So a flying monkey is created generally during like the devaluing stage of a narcissistic relationship. In case you didn't know, there's 3 stages of a narcissistic relationship. There's idealize, devalue, and then discard. I don't like the word idealize. I think probably a better word is luring, because they're really just sucking people in. Then the devaluing, so once they have the victim, then the devaluing starts. This can either be done to your face or behind your back, but it's basically a series of insults and put downs. Well, and I guess you know what though, even if it's done to your face, it's also being done behind your back, because it's during this devaluing stage that the narcissist is generally lining up their next source of supply, which is the term narcissistic supply refers to their next victim. And you know what? I don't like the word victim. I don't like it. I don't think I'm gonna try really hard not to use it anymore. I am going to use the word target or supply, because that just sounds more accurate, and victim just sounds so powerless. Even though we all are truly victims, I just don't like the word. Okay, so so during the devaluing stage, when they're lining up their next source of supply, and a narcissistic supply is any like person, or it can be an object too, that supplies the narcissist, that supplies their ego, and they supply them with food, clothing, sex, shelter, money, attention, status. During the devaluing stage, so they're lining up the next source of narcissistic supply. They're involved in the church. They have this whole presentation that they're this really great, like this Christian man. I mean, it's ridiculous. And if you look at any of their actions, like none of their actions line up with any spiritual or religious belief whatsoever, but their words do, but their actions don't. That's how a narcissist works. So, okay, so the narcissists do it to get out of trouble. They do it to protect their public image, and they do it for entertainment. Narcissists are perpetually bored, so if they can create all of this chaos and drama, and then there's people fighting over them, and they're fighting, they're believing all this nonsense, and it's just all of this emotional energy. They just soak it up. It's just so, gives them all this power and control over all of these people and over these situations, and that's what they thrive on. That's what any abuser thrives on, is power and control. And so really at the end of the day, I think the lesson to be learned with flying monkey stuff is to just be kind to other people. Now, I'm not saying assume that somebody's lying to you, but you know what? If somebody's telling you all kinds of terrible things about a total stranger, don't be so necessarily so quick to believe that. There's never any, real legitimate reason to just be ugly. Like they say, when you're ugly to somebody, it does not define them, it defines you.